from your experience, best practices or lessons learned in terms of how leaders can better communicate to their company for.
Yeah, and I'll add another dimension that you wouldn't even think would be something you have to think about, but this is one of the mistakes that I made early in my career that haunts me to this day. Education level. I was at a company where I was delivering training to supervisors, right? These were all supervisors, and it happened to be a company where they worked day shifts and night shifts, and they did 10-hour days, and then they had me do the training the 11th and 12th hour of a day. So I had a tired audience, and I was trying to keep them active and moving around. So I thought I did this simple little activity. Instead of me reading out everything, I was going to have everyone go around the room and read one thing. We get about halfway around the room, and one of the supervisors says, "Pass." And I don't know why, but I respected that, and we kept going. Then he didn't show up for the next 2 training sessions. And I went to his manager. I said, what happened? He couldn't read. I was asking him to read something in front of all of his peers, and I had no idea.
Right.
I assumed he was a supervisor, but all their product SKUs were numbers. He was a great supervisor, and he knew the numbers of all their products, but he couldn't read. So I had embarrassed this guy in front of his peers because I did not know my audience. So going back to your question, you have to know your audience. You have to know there's this great tool called Diversity Wheel. It's by Marilyn Loden is her name. And it talks about all the different layers of diversity. There's like 8 or 9 categories that people are part of their primary identity. That would be some of the protected classes or might be religion, things like that.
Core stuff.
Yeah, core stuff. And then there's all these other ones, which would include educational background and, others. And if you stop and think about your audience, you can't possibly understand who your audience is by yourself without involving other people. And so if you have messaging you're going to put across, you have to make sure you get people with different backgrounds from you looking at it and stopping you from making mistakes.